Welcome to the Sport and Society Squad Pod, aka the SASS. Each week, we bring you 3 sport or society stories to break down and give you our sassiest takes. With those sassy takes, we do want to give you a content warning that some of the language used on the pod may be explicit. We ask that you please just be mindful of where you are listening and who you are listening with. With that, let's get into it. Today, we're switching it up a little bit, and it'll just be me and Chels. How you doing, gal pal?
Just like live, laugh, loving. I feel like I last night remembered I was going to tell everybody something. I can't remember what it is.
That's the worst.
Do you know what I mean? I'm like, oh, I
Yeah.
have really great news to share on the pod. Apparently wasn't great enough.
Oh my God. I just got back
So-
from Sonoma for a girls' weekend, so all the
You-
wine was consumed.
Are you hungover?
No, I'm not. But there was a lot of wine consumed and a lot of wineries and wine tastings. Fun fact.
Oh my God.
Sonoma's known for Chardonnay, and fun fact, Arissan is not a fan of Chardonnay.
No, it's butter wine. Though I did have a really good Chardonnay wine this weekend.
It's possible. It's possible. It's not
just
preferable.
Well, for any of our, I was gonna say winos out there, is Chablis Chardonnay?
Chablis. No.
No.
I don't. Is it Chardonnay?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay. You know what?
It might be a Chardonnay. Okay.
There's a reason we're
say?
not. Who's to say? Who's to say? Chablis me, Chablis you. But
I don't
anyways,
even know what you're saying. Is that French?
And now you're gonna ask me what language it is. We don't have our bilingual queen here today. I think that's rude.
Just starting out strong.
Yeah, absolutely. But anyways, before we get into the playbook today,
Played it.
Played it today. I want to go through a quick huddle. So we're going to cover a few sport and society highlights from this past week so our listeners feel like they are in the know with the sports and pop culture world. So here are some huddle highlights that we won't be breaking down in depth, but we think are worthy to note. So in sport, in NFL news, Philadelphia Eagles player A.J. Brown proposed to his girlfriend this past weekend. He got a little help from singer John Legend, who serenaded the couple during, I don't really know if it was during, before, or after, but that's really fun that he was there. And like, what a fun ring year for him. He's just collecting like rings and moments of time with rings.
Can you also imagine getting serenaded by John Legend as part of your proposal? Like, how do you go up from there? How does any man compare?
And is he invited to the wedding? Like, I have questions, you know? Like, you were there for one of our most intimate moments.
Yeah.
This is interesting how I wrote this last night. It's also in NFL news, but I know we covered this one a little bit in more depth, but it's already being reported that the Washington Commanders will host the 2027 NFL draft. So, we covered the draft, but apparently we already know where the next one will be next year, and I guess congrats to them.
Congrats to DC. Yeah.
Congrats to DC, I guess. In NBA news,
wait,
the first
2027 draft. So not next year. So 2 years.
Well, but for the 2027 year, right? Am I crazy for that?
No, I was just asking clarifying question. If
I feel like it has to be for like the 2027 season.
Well,
because we're going into 2025, 2026 this year.
And then it will be the 26, 27.
I believe.
It's okay.
As a person who's only slightly paid attention more than previous years this year, it could be a rumor we're starting today.
Oh, perfect. I mean, if you saw the thing as 2027, I bet you it's 2 years out. Okay. It would make sense that the host year for the following year would have already been known. You keep on those highlights, and I'll get that.
Yeah, you Goog. You use the Google machine. In NBA news, the first round of playoffs has concluded and kicked a few teams to the curb, including Houston Rockets and the Los Angeles Lakers and Clippers. So, sorry, not sorry.
Not sorry.
Yeah.
Exciting Game 7.
Yeah, next year.
It's 2026. I will correct. You're right. It's 2027 is in DC. Next year's in Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a choice. Not that I've been, but just feels like a choice.
Steelers.
Yeah. In more NBA news, this really took me by surprise. Giannis and Tyrese Halliburton's dad,
Mhm.
so player and player's dad, got into a heated, what I'm calling a head-to-head moment post-playoff game.
A scuffle.
Like quite literally forehead to forehead on the court yelling at each other. I think it's still like this could be a future story. I won't be surprised if Wahida has a lot of words about this later because it sounds like I'm not sure what happened, but both folks were interviewed and have two different stories about what happened. All I know is that foreheads were touching.
Oh.
So it was spicy. It was crazy. The 30-second clip I saw, I'm tuned in. So I guess keep an eye out for that. And then lastly, Naomi Osaka won her first, and this is what I had a question about, WTA world title.
Tennis?
Is that what what is
Association?
World Tennis Association title?
I just assumed. I guess I didn't look up.
I think that's right.
Yeah, I think.
Well, she won that. So her first one since becoming a mother in July of 2023. Taking oh God, you're getting me with these.
I don't know. I couldn't have to say it. And then I was so happy that you were reading that.
Taking the Open 35 de St. Malo in straight sets yesterday. Hope that was French because
that's awesome though. It's her first one since having a baby, and I know she's had I don't think it's hard because she's not come back. She's just had a baby and then gone back into professional sports.
Yeah.
And she's gotten a lot of shit for everything. World Tennis Association, yeah.
Like, her job is so physical. Like you just you have to ramp back up to the endurance.
It
and
hasn't even been 2 years since she gave birth to a child.
Yeah. So I'm not surprised she won, but I'm happy for her. So snaps to our girly pop. Well, now into society. This is where things get wild. In some pretty scary news, I don't know if you heard this one this weekend, Brazilian authorities revealed that a bomb threat at a Lady Gaga concert was foiled and a suspect is in custody. So the authorities are alleging in a statement that the plot was organized by a larger extremist network that operates online to radicalize adolescents and provoke hate crimes. So first off, that's pretty scary. They had a big concert. I think it was the biggest concert for a female performer. Like 2 million people were there on Copacabana Beach in Brazil. And a rep for Gaga's team said that they learned about the threat through media. So they were not told about, at least that's what they're saying as of the last, 48 hours since we all learned about this. But
and it sounds scary because it says a foiled, as if there was actually bomb material, not just a bomb threat,
like real plans. And I didn't read too much about it, but I think that they were soliciting help from people online as well to get involved. So pretty freaky. I'm not in security at all, but I could imagine how maybe if there's 2 million people in a vicinity, in a small facility,
we don't want them to freak out. Yeah,
you don't want to freak everybody out and just say that right before, especially if you caught all the people. So that's scary. Hoping the rest of Gaga's tour goes well. In musical theater news, the 78th annual Tony Award nominations were announced late last week, and 3 shows, including Death Becomes Her, Maybe Happy Ending, and Buena Vista Social Club, picked up 10 nods each. Cynthia Erivo will be hosting the show on the 8th, so if you're interested, put it on your calendars so you can catch the big night.
The Tony host always usually sings, right? Different numbers. Is that
Such a beautiful question. If that is the truth, I may have to tune in.
Because I feel like I've seen, that's part of, Neil Patrick Harris has hosted. And he, performs and sings.
If we get another, I will freak out. You know what I mean? She'll have her own triple crown of performing at different places.
Yeah.
Okay, this one, I don't know how you feel about this, but this is huge in my world. Barbra Streisand has announced that she'll be releasing a new album, The Secret Life of Partners Volume 2, on June 27th. So there was a first album. I want to say it came out in the, I'm not going to say that. It came out a while ago. It's been a while. So this volume has been some time. But it's confirmed that there's going to be duets with a ton of iconic artists. I won't read every single one of them. But some of them include Sam Smith, James Taylor, Bob Dylan, Tim McGraw. And it's even being reported that there's going to be a song with her, Mariah Carey, and Ariana Grande. And like, to be honest with you, that may catapult me out of this world. Like,
I was gonna say, how are you not floating right now?
I don't know if I'm gonna be okay. Like, Mariah and Ariana already have a Christmas song together and the remix from Yes and, but like, add this third like level of Diva Dynasty. Like, this is not gonna be okay for me personally.
What if the song was just bad?
Well,
You're like, it doesn't matter.
There's a chance, but it doesn't matter. It won't matter. Or who are you looking forward to hearing from on this duet list?
I think I'm interested. Like, I of course like Paul McCartney, Bob Dylan, all those, but I'm kind of interested to see what like Hozier is gonna sound like in a duet. Like, what the kind of style is. Is he going more her style, or is she gonna kind of go back? So stuff like that. I'm always, and then Sam Smith has a wonderful voice, so I think that will be
stunning. Maybe it'll be like a scream off. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, right.
This one was kind of fun because I tuned in last night. But after 4 seasons, HBO Max's TV show The Righteous Gemstone had their series finale. So that was last night. I will say I kind of feel like the show halfway through thought maybe they had a couple more like seasons to go, and then maybe realized they weren't going to continue and wrapped it up real quick. So it wasn't bad, but I feel like there were a lot of things that could have been really drawn out for a season or two, but snaps to them because it was pretty freaking iconic. And then finally, in some book news, New York Times best-selling author Friedrich Bachmann's new book, My Friends, will be released this Tuesday, May 6th. So the story is just about 4 teenagers whose friendship apparently creates a bond so powerful that it changes a complete stranger's life 25 years later. I don't know what that means, but I'm in. It's on my TBR, and I guess put it on your list because it's coming out this week.
Yeah, I read most of A Man Called Ove. I don't think I finished it because it was for a book club. But it was good. Yeah, have you not read it?
I haven't.
And they made a movie with, I think, Tom Hanks.
Okay, maybe I've heard of this.
Yeah.
Go off, Friedrich.
It was pretty popular. I feel like it was a book club book for
years.
For years. But anyways, what a huddle, Chelsea.
Yes.
And now let's get into today's playbook. For today's playbook, we're going to be keeping it short and cute, and so we'll just be discussing. We're going to keep it short and cute, but I'm not going to sound short and cute while I say this. We'll be discussing the Kentucky Derby, and then get all the latest on the NHL playoffs. With that, I'm going to pass it right back to Chelsea.
Jesus Christ.
To get it started with our first story so I can drink some more coffee.
Absolutely. To the Derby, if you will.
Derb.
Well, to the Derb. I'm kind of excited to talk about this one. I don't know how others feel about it, but sports, like for this as a sport, like for sports, this one's always kind of been a big one in my family, I'll say. Like horse racing, which is what we're talking about today, the Kentucky Derby, for those who don't know. But my grandparents had horses that raced racehorses. Jesus Christ!
Horsing races.
And that was one of the what did you say?
Horsing races.
Horsing races. They just had a track at their house, and racing horses came over. Sorry, and then I just had a huge moment of allergies there.
I'm very emotional.
I know. And I'm tearing up immediately. But anyways, that was just one of the things that we did as a family. And we'd go and, sometimes there'd be a babysitter and family would go to the track and we'd get a place bet. So this has always been a little fun thing to catch up with my grandparents on. But for those of you who did or didn't know or not tapped in, this past weekend was the 2025 Kentucky Derby. I'm just going to ask you straight up. Did you watch or do you know anything about it?
I did not watch at all. I
Cool.
was one weekend, and
Absolutely.
I know I saw one horse name.
Okay. Stunning.
Yep.
That's all we need.
We talked about it. We kept on being like, the Kentucky Derby is today, right? But like, I was expecting people in hats, at least out and about or at wineries. Nobody cared in Sonoma.
Oh, well, that's true. That would be kind of a cute. I always feel like it's kind of a fun. You could make it a fun party with your friends if you wanted to.
But
You know what I mean?
That's it for me.
Fine. Okay. Well, if you also didn't know, which I didn't until last night when I was researching this, the Kentucky Derby is the longest continuing held sport event in U.S. history.
Whoa.
So, yeah, it was first held in May of 1875.
Holy shit.
And I thought this was kind of funny. So just like for perspective, if like what was going on at the time, that was the Gilded Age. And it's also the year that BYU was founded in Utah. So it tells
random.
You anything, they're like, Mormons, horses, let's go. Like,
let's fucking go.
Let's ride.
Some gambling into here.
Literally.
Original
complete
sin.
opposite it
No,
feels, but whatever. So anyways, the winner this past weekend was horse Sovereignty with a winning time of 2 minutes, and this is where I also got confused, 2.31 seconds. I don't know. It kept saying 2 minutes, seconds, and then I don't know what those
milliseconds.
Is it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm assuming because that's
what I thought.
That's how
but then
time
I tried
works.
to Google it, and nothing. It kept coming up with one. I don't know. This was a hard one, surprisingly, for me. I'm also not great at math, so there's that. But anyways, I thought because Wade is not here, I'm gonna like put in a little fun fact. Fun fact: the quickest Derby time ever was for 1 minute 59 seconds for a horse Secretariat in 1973. And if you haven't seen the Disney Channel movie Secretariat, which I don't know if it's fully Disney, but I've watched it on the application of Disney, check it out. It's actually kind of good.
Is it a cartoon?
No, it's real. I can't remember what the lady's name is, but you'll know her. The main lady who plays it. It's kind of an iconic moment for women and horses, I believe.
Do they, I mean, you might tell us, me, and by us, I mean me and everyone.
Well, the listeners, hello.
Is it a straightaway or do they go around a corner and like do a lap?
It's like a whole, like a racetrack. Like think about a track.
Like a mile, like a running track.
Basically. Okay. Yeah. Well, I probably should have looked up how far it was now that you're saying that. Some context that might help. There were 20 horses lined up to race.
Damn.
So each year there's 20. This year though, when they like officially went to line up, there were only 19 that made the final cut, which is a little off. And it's just due to there were 2 scratches before. So one horse completely dropped out and then one horse had an alternate step in. And a scratch just means that a horse started like acting up right before the race, like kind of was losing it or had like an injury. And at that moment it was like, it's not gonna pull through for this race. So that's a little, I don't think it's like super typical, but that was one thing that was a little surprising to some folks. When I was looking at this too, one thing that I love about this sport is the freaking like horse names.
Yes. 100%. So fucking weird.
I fucking love it. It cracks me up. So like for this year, there were 20 names or more, a little more, but my favorite 3 that came out of it were Chunk of Gold.
You just call him Chunky? Hey, Chunk.
This is Goldie. I love it.
Nicer.
And then I like them big. I like them chunky. Their walkouts on. There's Flying Mohawk and then Rendered Judgment, which honestly, that would be so fucking funny if they won.
I know. I saw the horse that was supposed to suspected to win.
Yeah.
Journalism, and I was like, "What? Who's naming these horses?" Like, because that's like, do you actually call him this name, or are you trying? What's the goal? To be like a Seabiscuit and stand out?
I think it's just supposed to be fun, or like I know some of them had been like just like fun inside jokes. Like my grandparents had this room where we'd watch TV and then all of the photos of like when they won races and you could see all their names on them. And sometimes it's just like fun. Like I think it's just like could be an inside family joke, could be like
how crazy can we make this?
Would
Yeah.
you say?
I said, how crazy can we make this? Yeah.
I mean, we could have the SASS out there. Maybe that's what we do as our first official act of the pod is like invest in a racing horse.
Maybe. I feel like you would need to name it like Sassy Pooter. Feels like a name you would really appreciate.
Pooting SASS.
Pooting
I'm
Sass.
trying to think of like the
Yeah.
the way that they come off. God, I'm having an allergy attack right in the middle of this. So that was fun. There's also the other element of like there's all the people dressing up, which is super fun. There's the mint juleps. There's the horses and their names, but obviously, like all sports, there's a lot of betting going on.
Yeah.
So the odds prior to the race had the actual winner with the third best odds, and it was Falling Horses, Journalism, and Sandman. And it's being reported as of right now that the wagering from all sources totaled 349 million.
Dang.
Just a little bit. And that beat last year's record, which is
Less than that.
which was less than that. I took it out because I just felt like who needs to know that number?
No one
Not
needs
me.
to know.
While we talk about it though, I do want to highlight, obviously, there are some celebs there that did show up. And so on some of the events, I saw Shabuzi, Alex Earl, which I know is confusing for you, Selma Blair, and Simone Biles. So I just always think it's like funny to see celebs at that because it almost feels like a formal event too. And then how they style like those hats, or if they really do it or not.
Because you have to wear a hat? Is that a requirement?
I don't think you have to, but it's like you should, especially if you're going like
you're gonna look like a loser if you don't, pretty much.
Yeah, you're not gonna super fit in, especially if you're there. Like it'd be one thing if your friend was throwing a party and you're just like, I'm not gonna wear the hat. You're like going, and I'm imagining some of those people were like sponsored to be there, or like we're doing, promoting something. I did once get invited to a wedding where you had to wear one of those, if you can believe. It
Giving 27 dresses.
Yeah, it wasn't my best look. I don't know if I'll do it again. But while we're here, just because we're talking about it, and I feel like it starts a little bit of more conversation about the sport, and then I'll pass it to you, do you know what the Triple Crown is?
I have 100% heard of the Triple Crown, but I could not tell you what the other races are.
Yeah.
And when they are or where they're at or anything, but I've heard of the Triple Crown.
Okay, well, I did not. No, whatever. The Triple Crown, just for you, and I guess me, it does make me giggle, though, because I feel like this is going to be like a bucket list when I retire. Like, I'm going to be like, go to the Triple Crown this year. But for all of us who don't know, it's a series of horse races, and it's 3 thoroughbred horse races. And if you ask me what the fuck thoroughbred a horse is, this is a sports pop culture podcast. I'm not going to go into horse breeding, so I'm just saying that again. Don't ask me about languages. Don't ask me about horse breeds. So it's 3 thoroughbred horse races.
We all have our lines.
Boundaries. You know what I mean?
Boundaries.
My therapist would be proud.
Yeah.
So anyway, sorry. It is 3 thoroughbred horse races for specifically 3-year-old horses, which take place each year in May and June. So 3 races. So
they have to be horses. 3. If they turn 4 by the 3rd,
I think they're out. Yeah.
They like numbers here. It's a number thing.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
3rd-year horses.
It's apparently considered one of the most difficult accomplishments in horse racing and maybe all of the sports championships. And that's because the racing schedule requires a 3-year-old horse to win what happened this past weekend, the Kentucky Derby. 2 weeks later, win the Preakness Stakes, and then 3 weeks later win the Belmont Stakes.
So it's like heavy, like hard on the body.
It's super quick. And that, like, think about like your horse has to be in good spot. It can't really have any injuries. It has to be this specific age. You know, that's just a lot going on. So this weekend really did kick off like a lot of things for horses in our community. So horse girls, this is your time to shine. And I thought this was fun, another Wahida moment. Fun fact, in all of horse racing, only 13 horses have achieved the Triple Crown. The last one to do it was in 2018, if you can believe so. And the one before, I believe, was 2015. And then before that, there was quite like a bit of time.
Big gap.
Yeah. So we've seen a couple in our lifetime, but I don't know.
I've
That's all I got.
I couldn't tell you a name of any of the Triple Crown winners. I'm sure if I Googled it, I would recognize it, but I definitely remember
When it happened.
when it happened because it was such a big deal and it was like the one time everyone was tuning into horse racing.
Yeah, I was like, oh my God. It's true, though. You're not wrong.
Well, it's just crazy to me too because the races are so fast.
I mean,
Like,
it's like so much to get there. Think about
yeah,
your whole day getting ready for the two men's.
yeah,
I mean, there's also like horse racing all day, but this
and
is the
there's
big one.
things, but yeah, I think for me, hopefully it's gotten better. I remember learning about just it's not the best just sport for the said horses. Like if they
No.
get injured and I also have always thought it was really funny, like the like jockeys, how they have to like be on the horse and like their whole
Just,
outfits and everything. The whole idea of it was just mind-boggling to me. And I was grew up next to someone that raced horses, so or like showed horses, or there's a difference, I think.
you know what? There is, but
I
it's
don't
the horse
know.
community. You know, they would know.
I didn't. I never got into becoming a horse girly.
I think that if we took you one day down, we could have some fun. Like we get a good beer and
Yeah,
make a couple
I've
like little bets. It
I
could be fun.
I feel like I've talked about and I've heard going to what is it, Emerald Downs or whatever, where like the horse tracks. Like I
Hmm.
feel like that could be a fun day. Like I love putting in bets that I have no idea what's going to happen because I don't feel like I'm really gambling. I feel like I'm just like intentionally being like, here, take my money for entertainment, which feels
Hmm.
different than trying to actually gamble and win. You know?
Yeah, and well, and it feel like I remember one time, not to get on a tangent here, but like I had played a soccer tournament like down in Southern Washington and had come home and we stopped at my grandparents' house and they were like, let's go to the track. And so we did. And my grandpa was like, I'll put a bet down for you. And we did. My horse won. And I was screaming. We have it on video because I was like, oh my God. But I thought my horse lost. So I was like, damn. I was watching the wrong horse the whole time. The one I bet on won.
The
The one I
one-
watched did not.
you know,
So
it
be a tricky
happens
sport.
to the best of us. Yeah, I'll be interested to see like hopefully what was it, Sovereign or
Sovereignty.
Sovereignty? Well, best of luck in the Triple Crown
Well, I don't
proceedings.
even know if they're 3 years old. That's the thing.
Well, it said something about
Should
well,
I Google?
I read a 2 paragraph article. Maybe I read 2 paragraphs of an article, but I thought they were saying this is their first Triple Crown win.
They are
What?
3 years old.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, fuck. Okay, good luck at the next one.
Well, does everyone that enters into this race a 3-year-old horse, or is it just so
You
happen?
know what? These are great questions that I did not.
It's okay.
How?
It's rude of me to ask questions you don't have answers to. But if it's part of the Triple Crown and you have to be 3 years old to get the Triple Crown,
Yeah, you know
wouldn't you
what? I
think
think
everyone would be 3-year-old horses?
each year they must be three. But I wonder if they can be older. I don't know.
Yeah. Stay
It's just a
tuned.
requirement.
We might tell you later. We might not. With
Don't hold your
that,
breath.
I think we're going to wrap up and move to our next topic, which I probably know just as just about as much as you did about horses. No, even less. You probably actually know this subject more than me, but I am going to give us an NHL hockey update for the
Hell yeah.
playoffs. For those, we're a little late to this, but it's okay because this motherfucker goes till June, so we have time. So
We do.
for those of you that are tuned in, you're like, how the fuck did you not know? And those are just listening, being like, what? Hockey's in playoffs? Yes.
Well, hockey's still going.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly. The first round of the NFL NHL, different. That's confusing. Playoffs have concluded this last week, and we are into round 2. So that's happening. So again, if you remember, I think Chelsea talked about this. We have another month. They go until June, which is crazy. But there are a total of 16 teams that went into playoffs because there's 32 in the whole league of the NHL. And the teams are in the playoffs similar to pretty much all sports between the Eastern and Western Conference. And so as of now, half those teams have been eliminated. So now we've got 8 teams in the playoffs. So there's 4 rounds of the playoffs total. And each round is a best of 7 series. So similar
is
to NBA,
so
which is
fun though.
yeah, which is why games last forever. I mean, like
And
the
hockey
series,
games last for fucking ever.
yeah, forever. So here's a fun fact for you.
Oh my
A
God.
little history on the Stanley Cup, which is what they call what you win. Well, that's a finals, but that's also what you win. You actually win the Stanley Cup.
Like
This
the trophy.
the trophy. The Stanley Cup is the oldest major sports trophy in North America.
Whoa, Stanley.
I know, and um,
Whoa.
has a rich history. So dating back to 1892.
Why are
What?
we in the Gilded Age today?
I don't know. We just knew. It was donated by Lord Stanley of Preston, the Governor General of Canada.
What the fuck?
And it was initially called the Dominion Hockey Challenge Cup and was intended for the top ranking amateur ice hockey. Wow.
I believed it until it stopped.
Top ranking amateur ice hockey club in Canada. And then over time, it became the prize for the NHL playoff. The NHL took it over in 1926. So it's been part of the NHL for almost 100 years. That's right. Math, right?
That's
Holy
literally,
shit.
next year.
Yeah.
Oh, I
100
wonder
years.
what's going to be happening in like
They've got to do
hockey world.
something about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just thought that was some cool history there. And already this is an exciting playoffs. Like 2 series in the first round went to game 7 and was being settled in the last minutes. Like the Winnipeg Jets came back down 3-1 with 2 minutes, forcing an overtime and they eventually knocked out the St. Louis Blues out, and they're moving on to the second round where they will be facing the Dallas Stars, which is also took their round 1 game to a game 7. And so this next round will be spicy.
God.
As for the other teams we have still in it, the Florida Panthers versus Toronto Maple Leafs. Then we have Carolina Hurricanes versus Washington Capitals, and then the Edmonton Oilers versus the Vegas Golden Knights. So a lot of things are happening. It's all very exciting. I will say, because I keep on trying to say NFL instead of NHL, I promise I know the difference, but come on. There's one letter difference is
HL.
You know, for hockey and basketball, I feel pretty good about I can identify all the teams and I know them. NHL, you show me a logo and I'm like, I don't know what the fuck that is. I know the Kraken, who aren't in the playoffs, as you all seen, and they fired their head coach. So
I know that was wild. Yeah,
but I feel like 2 seasons ago when the Krakens were in the playoffs.
Yes. Oh my God.
And I was not a big hockey watcher. And then like it was like a neighborhood thing that we just started watching the Kraken in the playoffs.
Oh,
and
fun.
It was so fun to watch on TV. It's like a beautiful dance that's lethal and so freaking fast and athletic. It's
oh my God.
I'm convinced that hockey players are the most talented elite athletes of the sports because you're doing all this crazy shit and then on like
ice
blades
skates
with a little tiny puck that can knock your teeth out, and you got to be so fast.
And let me just say, because Sean and I have season tickets, I was at a couple of those games. One time in the playoffs, a guy got the puck right to the face. Like literally. Can you imagine that?
No. That's why they have no teeth.
I mean,
and then punching. No,
it was a lot of blood. So just saying.
So I've kind of seen games on TV and know someone that's kind of into it. So I will be following along. I don't know, seeing with this like lineup, I guess you shall say, of the teams. I think I'm going for the Vegas Golden Knights because I know them. I know their logo and they feel like the closest to us here on the West Coast. If I'm being honest, I don't know where Edmonton is. Don't tell my Canadian friends. I'm guessing it's East Coast.
I'm pretty. For whatever reason, I want to say it's above Pittsburgh, but that's
just I think East Coast, right? That's like
well, and I was like Pittsburgh Oilers. I don't know. It just feels like maybe they know each other. Yeah. I don't know why. I feel like I know that. I'm pretty sure when we play, I'm trying to remember my brain. Did we play the Capitals and then the Dallas Stars when we went to the playoffs? I think I for whatever reason, I mean, the Stars are out, it sounds like, but I feel like I have
No, the Dallas
beef.
Stars are in.
Oh, they're still in?
They just beat, I think it was Colorado in the game 7.
Okay,
And
well
now
then
they're addicted.
I feel like I have beef with the
Okay.
Stars and the Capitals. So in a turn of wild events, I'm going to say I'm rooting for the Maple Leafs, Toronto Maple
Oh,
Leafs.
Toronto. Okay, Drake.
Yeah. So we're going Team Canada here.
You're going Team Toronto. You
Oh, well, not because
realize,
of Drake.
yeah.
Yeah, not.
But
We got to
okay.
bring positivity. Why? Is
Okay.
he a huge Maples fan?
Who knows? Probably
Okay.
because
Well, and who really
has a
cares?
bandwagon. But one thing that's interesting is not quite about the playoffs. It's actually what happens right now or just happened. Is the draft lottery. And I read
Yes.
up on this because it felt like it should be said in the same breath as the playoffs. And I don't know if I'm less confused or more confused.
Yeah.
So right now there's a draft lottery that just happened for the NHL. So it's a draft lottery for the lottery picks, not actual a draft of said players.
Yep.
So for the 16 teams that didn't make it, they do like literally bingo fucking style where the ball comes out and picks the thing. Here's the thing, they've never done it live selection. So this is the first year they're doing a live
It's
ball.
today, is it not?
Well, yeah, and as of this recording, it was on Monday. It's a live ball selection that comes out, and how it works is so the 16 teams that didn't make it, there are it's like a semi to like the first 4. There's kind of like a draft on how it gets selected. Now these 16 teams get a certain number and they get a certain amount of balls in. So there's 4 balls. This is what the NHL website said explaining this.
4 balls.
There are 4 balls numbered 1 to 14 and 1,001 possible 4 numbered combination. One combination is designated as a redraw, which is 11, 12, 13, 14. What? I know. Allowing the NHL to divide by 1,000 among the 16 teams that did not make the Stanley Cup playoffs. Now,
What the
explain that
fuck?
exactly.
So I'm sorry, you get 4 numbers and then you divide it by 1,000?
That's a great question. And I don't have an answer for you, but I did know that for each team, even though it's 16 teams and it's like a random draw, if you were like a worse team, you can have more potential numbers or balls in the thing to get picked. So it's like you would have like 100 something out of 1,000. So I don't quite know how the numbers and the balls. So you don't just get 1 through 14. Again, it was really confusing when I tried to make sense of it. But
maybe this is why they've never televised it.
And they usually will announce like the selection on TV, and they'll go from 16 to 1. But they're getting ballsy, and they're sharing pick 1 right away. So I get the concept of it. Like, you can have like if you might not have as many numbers or balls in the circle thing based on how you did, but it's still a game of chance. And say you got the first pick, if your number comes up again for the second pick, it's a redraw. So you can't do like back to back. So that's happening, which is exciting for these 16 teams that didn't make the playoffs, and it's bingo style and it was live. So they're really excited. But that's about all I have for hockey, and maybe I'll understand the draft concept more. Maybe I'll watch it.
Well, no, I don't know. I can't say if I will or not, but I will. I'm sure I'll hear about it in this household that I live in. So,
have Sean explain it. Me, see.
I'm gonna ask him because
see if he knows, because it was confusing.
Yeah, that was confusing. But thank you for bringing us up to speed because one, I knew nothing about the trophy of the Stanley Cup, so that's wild. And also just like can't wait to see who wins. And I'll echo what you said, and I know we kind of talked about it, but hockey actually is really fucking fun to watch on TV. I really never thought it was, but it really is. And it's exactly what you're talking about. It's the speed of the game. Like, I used to get so butthurt as a kid because I played soccer, and my brother and his friends would always be like, it's so slow, it's so slow, it's so slow. Okay, after I became a hockey fan and went to a soccer game, it is fucking slow. Like, it is nowhere near the level. And I get that it's a smaller space and everything, but if you haven't tuned in, I challenge you to watch. It's really fucking fun. You might see somebody get punched. You may see someone score a goal. IDK, but
or a hat
get
trick,
in there.
which happened, which I don't know what that is, but it sounds cool.
What did you say?
Hat trick. I don't know what it is, but it sounds cool.
What? You don't know what a hat trick is? It's the same thing for like soccer too. Have
you met me? Is soccer also my main sport?
Yes. It's 3 goals in like a game or whatever.
One
so
person.
You individual. Yeah.
Oh, and I thought it was like one like move, like you did a hat trick where you did like a spinning kick.
No. I mean, I wish, right? But 3 goals, 1 game.
Gotcha.
I don't know. The only thing I would say with hockey is it 3 goals, 1 period. I'm assuming it's 1 game, but 3 goals, 1 period would be even crazier. Anyways, I digress. I think that with the 2 of us, we have somehow still kept the podcast the same amount of length, which is shocking because...
Is it though for us?
I mean, I think it was kind of me, so I apologize for that. So I'm going to wrap the pod today. Just, let us know what stories you want us to cover next week. Well, we will consider.
And don't forget to hit follow and subscribe to our show on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple, and turn on notifications so you can stay up to date on all the latest sports and society stories.
And please, please, please go rate the pod. Hopefully that's not like a copyright infringement. But in the meantime, stay sharp, stay sassy, and we'll catch you next time.